this more than most.
Hello and welcome to the regular Friday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight, main topics are the loss at Forest and a preview of Wolves. So we'll get right into it because I don't do long introductions. And first I'll introduce our guest, Jem. How are you, Jem?
I'm very well, thank you, Adrian. Lovely to see you all again.
Good Christmas?
I had a great Christmas apart from the football.
Okay. And Ian, how are you?
Great, thank you. I had a great Christmas apart from the football.
Mark, how are you?
All is good apart from the football. Ate too much, drank too much.
And no doubt it's going to continue because with those of you out there, for those of you that are spending Christmas, New Year's Eve alone, we are doing a show Tuesday like we did Christmas Eve, actually, which was very successful, funnily enough. I didn't think it would be. But it was, So here we are. Forest versus Spurs. Right. The injury woes for this game was 7. We had Vicario out, Odegaard out, Davies out, Richarlison, Moore, VDV and Romero. And the team: Forster, Udogie, Gray, Dragerson, Spence, Saab, Bentancur, Maddison, Son, Solanke, Johnson. Jem, when you see the lineup, was you okay with it, or?
Well, given the limited options, I was okay with it. I think that Son and Johnson, I always kind of worry whether that's going to work or not. Sometimes it does, but once again, it didn't. Once again, I was very surprised. I suppose resigned as much as anything else. Glad to see that he didn't put Werner in, but the notes I made, there were a few pluses, and I think that for me the pluses were Gray and Decky and Bergvall, but Son and Johnson still, for me, are a real disappointment for the team. They're just not contributing enough. Too many passes going astray. Too little off the ball stuff, not closing down. I'm sure we'll come on to it. The match just reconfirmed what I've always said about Udogie, that he's not a defender. And also reignited the discussion about Spence and his temperament, because obviously the first booking was, just ridiculous. Stupid and unnecessary.
Ian, when you saw the team, was you happy with it?
Pretty well. I don't think there's that many options. I think that's part of the problem. I'm always happy to see Spence get a game, but about temperament. But that was it was a silly double yellow. Even the foul that got himself sent off was a nothing foul in a nothing part of the pitch. I wouldn't be playing Maddison away from home, though. I know Bissouma doesn't set any heather alight in anywhere, but I think Maddison tends to get battered about a little bit away from home when we've got a battle. I'd probably have started off with Bissouma. But we are limited in options. I mean, and part of the problem, and you play Sarr, Bentancur, and Bissouma, I think you've got too much of the same type of player, and you've not got a lot of creativity. Coupled with the fact, I mean, the thing is, Jem's absolutely right when you talk about Johnson and Son. I mean, Son, in my view, is no longer worth a place in the team. He's club captain, team captain, but he doesn't offer very much at all at the moment. And I hate to say that because I've been a huge fan, and there's always that suspicion that because of who he is, club captain, etc., but also of what he represents in terms of the South Korean fan base and what have you, is he getting too much of a free ride? Because I'm disappointed. Johnson, a bit hot and cold, but and this is where we go back to the point that Jem raised about Udogie. You can say it about Spence, but certainly about Porro, that they're wing backs. And if Ange wants to play the kind of system he wants to play, fine, but it doesn't need to be confined to 4-3-3 and 4-3-3 alone. He could play it going 3-5-2. And he could play, for example, Solanke with Johnson as the sort of the inside forward, alongside him, the Greaves to Gilzine, the Keegan to Toshack. You're all old enough, I think, to know what I'm talking about. And then he could have his 2-3, his Porro and Udogie as his wing backs. Have one, if not two, like a Sarr, like a Bentancur, and then have a Kulusevski that would have the freedom to go forward. You'd still have 5-6 players going forward in every attack, but you'd still have cover. And this is why I think Ange is getting himself into bother, because it's like my way or the highway, and it's not working. And I think you can put an amount of it down to injuries, but it's not all down to injuries. The ease we get passed through, particularly when we lose the ball, that's not just down to injuries. That's down to some players being in positions that I don't think they'd want to be in. If they were having, the freedom to choose where they were, or a coach that was getting them into the right positions, and that's what's bothering me. We only conceded one. We created not enough, but we created a bit. It's not as if we're getting overrun. It's another defeat by one goal, and it's becoming, apart from Liverpool, too much of a habit to lose by one goal. But lose we are, and that's where I'm at the moment.
Right. Hang on a minute. No, hang on. No. Thank you, Ian, for saying that. I've been saying this on this channel for months about Udogie and Porro being wing backs, and they're played out of position. They're not defenders. So thank you for that.
Alan, welcome to the channel. Good Christmas.
Thank you. Yes. It was nice. It was quiet but good.
Right, you haven't missed much. This was the starting team. I'll come to Mark next because you're the guest, so we prior to the guest. Was you happy with the lineup when you saw it?
I mean, it's relative. It's probably the best of a bad situation. So in that regard, I was happy. Not happy with all of the injuries and whatnot. And not feeling I wasn't feeling super confident in the lineup when I first saw it, but it is what it is with where we're at.
Mark, when you see the lineup,
yes, sir. Well, we all been, I believe on the Christmas Eve one. I don't know. I was a bit drunk at the end, but
it's allowed Christmas Eve music.
Well, it was all right, but I believe that we were all crying out for Spence to get given a go because of Porro's inadequacies at defending, and he did, and he did all right apart from getting sent off, obviously. But it's but that's all we got really now, isn't it? It was going to be the only real thing. You could have took Spence out and put Porro in, and that's about it, really, isn't it? I mean, all right, Maddison could have got in there, but he gets shoved off the board, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in agreement with Ian. When it's an away game, until Maddison improves his consistency, I wouldn't have picked Matt. I didn't pick Maddison in my team to start. I think I went Saar, Bentancur, Basuma. No, Bergveld. I went Saar, Bentancur, Bergveld. That was my midfield.
Yeah, that was done.
Yeah, and then we're also having to juggle the lack of transparency out the club, because if there is a team that we were disagreeing with 3 players, when you're thinking, well, is this because like they haven't performed, or is it because they're tired from playing too many games, so you can't put them in? I mean, I think Maddison might have got in because of that. Yeah, it is what it is. But we'll move on. Jem, this shows where we are really when we've got Lancashire, Alu Saiti, who's a central attacking midfield, and Austin, the goalkeeper, on the bench with Werner.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've spoken ad nauseum about the injuries. I like you would have played Bergvall, but there's small changes, and the reality is we didn't play badly, but we were soft. We're too predictable. We're too easy to play against. They had a plan, and their plan worked really well. And Udogie was horribly exposed for the goal. He was. I don't know what possessed him to just lose sight of Elanga completely. But there just seemed to be a lack of movement, a lack of creative ideas. When a team goes and puts a lot of men behind the ball, we just don't seem to have any idea what to do. I think Solanke is often isolated on his own against 2 or 3 defenders, and we've got very wide men who often aren't coming in. So there seems to be big gaps. Personally, I'd like to see Decky playing alongside Solanke in a 3-5-2.
Yeah, the substitutes, Alan. Bare bones. Well, we're down to the bone marrow, not bare bones, aren't we?
Well, you're right. We were talking about this on the Christmas show. It's down to the marrow. I'm waiting for them to get the ball boy onto the bench, because we're about there. It's sort of depressing. I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why we have so many injured and sustained. Ange said something about how difficult it is to play with so many sustained injuries. And I'm wondering, does that have anything to do with our medical staff? I know what little I know, it doesn't seem to have the best reputation. I remember with Richarlison, it seemed like he was always perpetually out. And I wonder if maybe this is just too many problems going on at the same time, but I think our medical staff may be one of them.
But Alan, if I can come in, the medical staff aren't getting the players injured. I think there's 2 issues at stake. One is the number of injuries that the players are sustaining, one during games and secondly during training. And then secondly is the time it seems to take some players to recover from injuries. That whenever we get an injury, a player seems to be out seriously long term. Odegaard, you think, was getting better, then suddenly he needs another operation. Davis, today it was reported, who was almost back, now needs another 2 weeks out. Van der Ven, another one who has repeated hamstring issues, etc. And Richarlison, I mean, I just think he's soft. He's simply made of glass, and he keeps talking about wanting to fight for his place and what have you. But no club in their right mind in this country would have him. We certainly shouldn't. And if maybe it needs to be made clear that he has no future at the club and needs to go, because there was times we could have used him. And I think when you look at Dragason's injury, I suspect that's a lot from just being overworked and his body saying nah. And my worry is that if Solanke who's doing the same, and he works like a bloody dog. That Solanke could end up getting an injury, a similar type of injury, and if he's out long term, I really don't know where we go.
Yeah, right.
Because he could say, well, look, we're a goal down with 15-20 to go. I'm going to see if Will Lancashire can pull a rabbit out here. There's been a couple of games he could have brought Lancashire on and hasn't. I called the subs early. Bergvall. There's somebody missing there, isn't there? Sorry, can you go back to the subs?
Oh,
someone's moved.
Sorry.
Bergvall came on and Biss. Yeah, I mean, I was calling for that, but I also would have taken Son off at the same time and brought Werner on after 60 minutes. I mean, I said to my partner, that's the 3 changes I would make now, and he tends to wait. You talked about Austin as well. Austin's 25 years of age. And he's not played, I don't think, for the first team in a competitive game. And if he has, I've forgotten about it.
He was in preseason.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the competitive game. I don't
Yeah.
think I saw him play at Hearts. I mean, he played fine. He looked good at Hearts. But if he's not good enough at 25 to have made a first team appearance, other than just making up the numbers for the homegrown, what is he doing there? I mean, seriously, because Forster, I do like Forster, and I watched him a lot at Celtic, and he's an exceptional shot stopper. But playing under Martin O'Neill, Gordon Strachan, where it was okay to just hoof the ball, was fine. Clearly, Ange wants something that he's not capable of, and that's not his fault. That's genuinely not his fault.
No, it's a system. It's a system.
Well,
it's a system. That's why we've got so many injuries, because Ange flogs the players to death. Well, it's a stupid system we play.
When you get fast players or wingers and they pick up hamstring injuries, or a player like VDV, it's understandable. When you're picking up injuries to other players, midfielders that aren't fast, there you go, Mark.
I know. I've already read it.
It's not. I brought it up. We know one reason for fast wingers and VDV being a fast back for getting hamstring injuries, but for the rest of the team to pick up injuries, I mean, all the teams in the Premier League, they do run hard. We will probably run more kilometres than they do per person.
For what though?
Sorry.
Why do we run that? We're losing every week.
Well, if we didn't, maybe we will. Well, if we didn't, Mark, maybe we wouldn't have won the games we have won, even though we've lost.
Well, there is that, I suppose. There is that. So, but
and so that's that. But let's move on to the game. We started brightly. We had I'll come to the possessions and all that. 5 minutes, one of the weak shots straight at the keeper. I thought he should have done better with this. Alan, do you remember that weak shot?
Oh, very weak shot.
Wasn't it? It was like a pass back, really. Oh, I didn't get it.
I'm at the point with Heung-min Son that it doesn't surprise me anymore. It used to surprise me when he made mistakes that he didn't used to make, but now he's making them much more frequently, and it makes me feel like maybe he needs to start recognizing that he is not the player that he used to be. And it was just super frustrating because that puts us back in the game. Had he put that away with it early, I mean, it was like right there. He was like right in front of the goalie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's frustrating. Really considering how we had a lot of, I know in the first half, we had 70% possession. We had a ton of possession and it amounted to nothing.
1-0 down, that's what it amounted to.
Well, the goal didn't happen, I think, till in the second half, right? Or was it in the first half?
It was
in the first half. That's right.
What I normally do is format the minutes in the games where things happen and weren't too exciting in the first half in one way, and then we go through the players in the second half and then do well.
Yeah.
Jim, because I don't want to talk about the same thing with different people all the time. 10 minutes, Yates yellow card for tackle from behind on Son. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember it. And we had them rattled. We were creating a lot of situations where they were having to resort to late tackles. they were picking up a lot of yellow cards in the first half. To be honest, towards the end of the first half, I said to my brother, who I was watching it with, we'll win this game. Knowing that we had Bissouma and Maddison and Bergvall to bring on, knowing that they were picking up a lot of yellow cards, we were playing the ball around nicely. We were getting a lot of possession. We were just failing to convert. And to my mind, it looked as if it was a game that was definitely winnable.
Right. Ian, 16 minutes in, we had 63% possession. As soon as they picked up the yellow card, why aren't we pressing Yates to get him to get another one?
Yeah, and my recollection of the game was they only got one yellow card in that first 20 minutes.
No, we'll come on to the next ones.
Because I thought that the referee was quite lenient with them, with the sliding tackles where you don't get the ball and you get the man. That should be an automatic yellow card. I don't know whether it was full of Christmas spirit, but which might have impacted them. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we play that way. Let's concentrate on a player. Let's try and rattle him or whatever. I just don't think we play that way.
Do we?
Unfortunately,
we got two. We had 7 players in a team 24 years of age and younger, right? Do you think they just lack that bit of nous, a little dark and arts nous?
Sorry, could you say that again? I missed what you said.
Do you think our players? Well, I mean, we had 7 in the team that were 24. I mean, don't forget, Decky's only 24. But 7 players in a team 24 years of age and younger. Do you think they lack the nous when it comes to dark arts to put pressure on players who've got yellow cards?
I'm not really given that much thought, but I think if you say dark arts, I think what you haven't got because you're that age is experience. Whether the manager's saying, push on this player, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly not something that occurred to me watching the game. Oh, we should be putting more pressure on. I mean, I was quite happy at half time. I thought we were playing well. Despite the fact we lost a bad goal, I felt we were playing well. It was just after half time, we just didn't seem to have it offer anything and never looked like getting back in the game. And I think that was the disappointment for me.
Mark, have we got any more to welcome in the chat?
No, I flicked through the comments before I knew you were going to move on to the next banner.
As you are the JDL Defence League, 26 minutes. Sells, good save from Johnson. Remember, he dived to his right, the goalkeeper, and palmed it. It wasn't the hardest save because actually Johnson had 2 more in the game. But
well, yeah, Johnson's another one. See, I've been his biggest defender. He is improving. He is, but I believe with Johnson, that's just because he's becoming more mature. Let's not forget Johnson's only about what? How old's Johnson now? 21? 22?
Yeah, Bill.
He's what?
I'll tell him.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not that old.
No, he's not old. It's not old for a football.
Yeah, and so he is only getting. And let's face it, Johnson, when he was at Forest, didn't play as a winger.
Right.
Johnson was more of an inside forward, and so again with this stupid system, he's another square peg in a round hole, right? And even though I am his biggest defender, when does Johnson ever take a man on? And like the wingers are meant to, beat a man. We're all told he's got this fantastic pace. When does he actually use it and beat his man down the wing and get the ball in? The thing is with Johnson, as soon as he gets the ball out on that right wing, I'd say 85-90% of the time, his first vision is backwards or sideways. Is always. He always passes it back, Porro or whoever's behind him, or maybe inside. Inside to say, I don't know, who's next to him in the midfield. Whoever's there.
He tried to take his man on down that side, though, didn't he? He did it quite a few times. I thought he had a good game, actually.
Well, I'm his biggest defender. But he's not a winger, Adrian. He's not.
I'm
in
surprised
this,
too with the situation we're in now with so few players and Ange's willingness to play people out of position and move them around. Why Brennan Johnson was a central striker, wasn't he, for
yeah,
Forest?
yeah.
Couldn't he play that role for Solanke and then maybe move Kulusevski back up to the right wing?
Well,
And
he's not a
he's got
winger
enough
either.
midfielders. Well, no, but he can
Yeah,
do the job. We've seen Decky
yeah,
do the job
yeah,
very well. And then have, you know, Madison, Bentancur, and someone else, and Sarr, let's say, in the midfield, and then just have Johnson in the center instead of
yeah.
Johnson on the right. I just don't understand why he doesn't do that.
Well, my only difference I notice is that when Udogie is playing well and you've got Sonny on the left, they get a lot of overloads down the left, because when you get an overload, you haven't got to take a player on and risk losing the ball. But because Porro inverts, Johnson doesn't get involved in many overloads because there's no one there. I mean, to overload the ball with at the time. So, but yeah,
Johnson's 23.
23.
Yeah. So he's well, another year or two and he'll be in his prime. Then you know, I mean, that he is improving, but I think that's more because he's getting older and he's learning the game rather than an Ange thing. That's what I honestly think.
I've been impressed with his close control and touch and some of the movements when he's been in positions. If I take the critique on not beating a man, but I'm seeing things in him now. I'm seeing different things that's catching me up. Jem, 28 minutes, 1-0. We've been here before. Elanga scores from a Gibbs White. It was a nice loss. Having said that, I'm not blaming Gray. If Gray had just had his back leg further up, he'd have been offside though, wouldn't he? I mean, but I'm not blaming Gray.
I can't blame Gray either. I think it's squarely, on Udogie. Udogie was just completely out of position, completely wrong body shape. At no point did you ever think he knew where Elanga was. He allowed him to go past him, even though Udogie is a really quick player, and yet. Even though he had 5 yards on Elanga, he was nowhere when Elanga actually played the ball. But it was a wonderful pass by Gibbs White. But it stemmed from the fact that we lost the ball really easily, virtually on the edge of their area.
Everybody's focusing on Udogie's culpability, and that's absolutely right. But Spence lost the ball horribly, trying to turn a player on the edge. Christ almighty, what age was I? 8, 9, when I learned to play the way you face it. And he tries to turn, loses possession of the ball cheaply and easily, and so many goals we lose come about where we lose the ball cheaply. And that was another one. I was really angry with Spence for the goal. Udogie, no, he didn't cover himself in glory, and then he's looking for offside rather than using his pace to try and track back. So it was a bad goal. It was a beautiful goal to score, but a terrible goal to lose.
Yeah,
it had been coming too.
Yeah. With me, with a lot of our goals this season, there are. It's where the players are like when we give the ball out cheaply. Where do you apportion blame for conceding the goal? Spurs fans will always pick the player they don't particularly like, but I mean, it's where in the phase do you apportion blame? That's the issue. Mark, back to your man. This way it's worked out. It's come good to you.
Yes.
This was a cracking save. I thought it was in all the way.
Yeah.
Pushes a close range from Johnson over the bar.
Yeah, again, this is what Johnson excels at, right? You look at all of his goals this season, back post tap-ins. He's always in that correct position to tap the ball in, right? I can't remember him scoring a worldie, put it that way. But this is the one thing. He's always in that right position for the tap in at the back post, right? Always. But it's like I said, he's learnt to do that. Rather than Ange coaching him to do that, he's learnt to do that. Because as you probably guess, I've got no faith in this manager whatsoever. And it's waning day by day.
Okay. Ian, your take on the goal, on the shot rather than save?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good shot. I mean, it's just one of those things that on your day they go in. But it was a superb save, though. It was an absolutely superb save. But as I say, first half, I felt comfortable that we could get back in it. Not that we would, but that we could. We were playing well enough. Goals, the difference between winning and losing can sometimes be very fine margins, and that was a fine margin with some poor decision making from us. For their goal, excellent goalkeeping that stopped it being 1-1. Small margins, but the small margins are going against us at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, he did. I don't think he had any say, because I'm looking at the stats here in the first half. It says we took 7 shots and the goalkeeper saves 0. So does that mean the goalkeeper didn't even have to touch the ball in the first half?
That would have gone in, mate. So both of them would have gone in. I don't know where them stats are from.
Yeah, that can't be right. That's
No.
not right. Even the Son shot was on target.
Yeah,
It wasn't
we'll
a
come to
particularly
that.
good shot.
Yeah.
Let's just say good evening, Jose, a minute.
Good evening.
Jose, I'm sorry. I always call you Jose. I know, I always call him Jose. I deeply apologise, Jose.
Jose.
And if you want to come on, just put, if you want to come on, put yes. And I can always sort that out.
Buenas tardes, mi amigo.
Got another yellow card for you, Jem. 45 minutes. Anderson, yellow card for late challenge on Solanke. I remember this.
And again, to me, that it just reinforces the fact that we were dominant, and we just failed to take advantage of that. Not only in pressing the players who had a yellow card, but generally I felt we were reluctant to shoot. There were a couple of shots from Johnson, as we said, one very poor one from Sonny. But other than that, there seemed to be a lot of occasions where we could have shot, and Becky actually on a couple of occasions could have shot and chose not to. I thought our decision making was poor. We just didn't look as if we believed in ourselves enough.
Yeah, I think the confidence has gone, and I think if that's what Jem's suggesting, I entirely agree. I think the players, whether they believe in the system or not, is another matter. But I certainly don't think they believe in themselves.
No, well, me and Adrian were talking on the phone earlier, and I said they could have 24 hours of extra time. They could still be playing now when we still wouldn't have scored.
Yeah.
Alan, as your son's biggest fan, 45 plus 1. Son whips a free kick over the Forest wall, narrowly wide. That's about the only good thing he did during the game, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it was a good look. It's set pieces are tough, in general, and he's coming off of a set piece, a corner goal against Manchester United. So we know he's good at these shots. It's just went wide. I don't blame him too much. That of all the things with Son, that to me, it's going to happen.
Jem, with the free kick, because this got me going as well. One that he didn't score from it. If he'd scored, it would have been different. He scored quite a few for the career and some good ones, right? But you got Maddison in this team for that. He's in the team to do this, right? And to me, I know Son's the captain. That's probably why he took it, right? But
I don't think I'm sorry to butt in, but had Maddison come on by that stage? So I thought Maddison come on as a sub
at the 60th, the 63rd
minute.
I
was going to say, so Maddison wasn't even on the pitch at this stage.
I'm sure Maddison would have taken it had he been on the pitch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my brain fart. My apologies. Yeah, of course.
I just got to correct you now and again, Adrian.
No, that's all right. No.
I'm just.
I do apologise. I will always retract.
No.
Who was? Remind me now. Then who was Son standing by when they were taking the free kick? Was it?
I think it was Decky.
Decky. All right.
Yeah.
Right, I got one wrong.
Yeah, it was, because to me it was a left foot. It was a left foot shot. To me, that from that angle on that left hand side was to take you, but the ball would be on defending their left side.
Yeah, I was expecting Decky to hit it, but maybe that's why Son did.
He stepped over it, I think. Yeah.
Because Decky takes a lot of shots from that sort of angle anyway. He always tries for that far corner, doesn't he? So,
yep.
Yeah. Second half, 49 minutes. Draggers and yellow card for stopping Hudson-Odoi.
Easiest yellow card ever.
I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
If you get,
Especially on the halfway line, just completely unnecessary.
Right, yeah. Then this one, Ian, I thought Johnson brought the ball down so well here to get his shot off, right?
Agreed.
Ricocheted off his arm.
Comes out, hits one of their players. Oh, it's not a penalty for me, but that's his third chance in this game. He certainly gets in positions to get a shot off, doesn't he, Ian?
Yeah. And he does, and his numbers aren't bad. But the thing is, I think no one knows who actually said this first, but lies and statistics. The stats do lie to some extent, because you're looking at overall contribution. And he does have a few good assists. He does score a few goals, but overall, and I agree with Mark. He's not playing in his best position. He's not playing where he should. And in fact, if you're talking about playing that two up front with one off of Solanke, Son may be better in that role. Son may be better in that role than he is when he's playing out wide left, which it doesn't suit him to be the target man. If that's what would happen at the moment, if God forbid Lancashire got injured. And I don't think he's got that. He's certainly lost a yard of pace that he used to have on that left-hand touchline. So maybe playing in that sort of inside forward role would suit Sonny better. As we all think, I think we all think that it would suit Johnson better as well. But going back, it was certainly never a penalty. Absolutely never a penalty.
If I can just say, Sonny is the best finisher at the club. Hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, no arguments needed. Sonny is the best finisher we got. Finisher.
Oh,
he is with his left and right foot. Yeah,
without a shadow of a doubt.
I think his finishing has noticeably deteriorated.
I get you with that.
All right, then he was.
No, because Son's streaky player, he gets goals in clutches and then he doesn't score for a while. He's not like an every other game goal scorer. He might get a hat trick in the next game. You never know what you're going to get.
He's no Harry Kane.
He didn't show no lack of pace when Sarr put him through about a yard or two and a half against West Ham to run on and score, and he didn't show no lack of pace when he was fresh. When Decky did that run forward against Everton, and Sonny's running to stay with him to get the ball and score. I'm not as critical in the fact that people say he's lost all. He hasn't got the afterburners no more. They're not there for when he scored that Burnley goal from our penalty, ran the length of the pitch, or when he did it against Chelsea at Wembley when we played at Wembley. But he's not slow. He's still about the 4th quickest player we've got. But whether
he's not going to get any quicker. I think he is still the best finisher, but he's not as good a finisher as he was, and he's not finishing as clinically or as frequently as he did, and that's part of our problem. Is that
I agree, Jem, because he's hit a few over the bar and he usually keeps them down. And in recent games, when he's had a chance, he's blasted. He's done a Werner.
I'm not I'd never run Sonny down ever. We all love Sonny. We all love him, right? But he's just not the player he was 2 or 3 years ago anymore.
Okay.
He isn't.
Alan, 64th minute. Bergvall comes on from Bentaker, and this is where I've got it right. And Maddison came on for Sarr.
Yep.
Good time in these substitutions.
What was that?
I said, were they good timing, these substitutions?
I don't think Ange got it right. I think he should have subbed off Bentancur, maybe Sarr, at the half. I thought we should have done it earlier. I think coming out strong with new, fresh legs right after the half is probably what we could have used instead of waiting 20 minutes or so to put the subs in. And in this half, the second half, I think our players started to lose their heads. We got a couple of yellow cards, and then we got that red card. But yeah, Madison. Look, Madison. I think he got embarrassed a bit because I think he went to try to. Did he dive? Was it a dive that he did? Do you guys remember that? He kind of slid in, and I think he was trying for something, and it didn't work, and he kind of got up sheepishly. But I mean, Bergvall, I like Bergvall, and I think Bergvall did a really good job. I think Bentancur did a whole lot of nothing for 64 minutes. And I think Bergvall was a little more impactful, to be honest. Madison, I don't know how much more impactful Madison was than Sarr. But, he's not a one-man army. There's only so much he can do. If he's trying to do stuff when the rest of the team, the people around me who watch the game with me, they know nothing about Tottenham really. They don't know anything about football. And my wife is saying, why is it that Tottenham are playing? They just look so lethargic out there. And I'm like, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. But that's kind of how we looked at that point. We looked pretty lethargic.
I hope you said to her, it's who we are, mate.
Yeah.
Subs for you, Jem? Was you happy with these two when they came on?
Yeah, I think probably on balance it was about right. Maybe he could have done it a bit earlier, but I was pleased to see the two of them come on. I thought that they would add a bit of creativity, maybe unlock that defence, because by that point Forest had pretty much parked the bus. And it needed somebody who could, maybe have a shot from the edge of the area, maybe a little 1-2. So I was broadly happy with those.
Right. Ian?
Yeah, I don't agree with Alan on the half time. I thought we were good first half. I didn't have any worries at half time. I certainly wouldn't have changed it at half time. But I'm probably with Jem on this. I would have maybe done it after 60 minutes, not 64. But Christ Almighty, if we're down to arguing about that, we should just pack up and go to bed.
Yeah.
The only thing I was
when I was talking to Mandy, my partner, I said, Bergvall and Madison for Bentancur and Sarr. But I also, as I said earlier in the show, said I would have also at the same time brought Werner on for Son, who was becoming increasingly less effective. So that I would have made those three at that time. But other than that, I've got no quibbles with it. With people complaining that Ange doesn't do enough to change a game, I don't think you can argue with what he did there.
Yeah, it's always around the same time, though, isn't it? It's always around 60-ish minutes, 70th minute. He doesn't see. He always seems to be reactive and not proactive.
Well, I don't think it's that, Mark. He did that at Celtic as well.
Yeah.
Even if his team were 3 or 4 up, what he's expecting is with that midfield three are going to work and work and work and work. So he needs to change it to put fresh legs on.
Yeah.
That's you're criticising the system. That's the system, and that's what he's saying. As a midfield runner, you're going to run for 60 minutes. You're not going to run for 90.
No wonder we got so many bloody injuries, then.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, but Bergvall was a player a month or two ago, I would say needed to go out on loan because he was nowhere near ready. But he's starting to show some signs.
Yeah.
So I think it's good he's getting minutes.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's happened really with Gray, for example, is that through the injuries, these young players have been given a chance. That is a positive. It doesn't help our situation, but so much is. I mean, Gray's had 20 appearances now. You wouldn't think that, would you, looking back? 20. Right. Jem, 65 minutes.
Yeah.
Murillo, yellow card for late change on our man Bergvall, I like.
Yeah, I just want to come back on the substitution. I was broadly happy with them. What I thought he was going to do was actually bring on Bissouma for Bentancur, and then bring on Bergvall and Maddison for Sarr and Son. And actually, I think the advantage of that would have been that, and I know Bissouma has a lot of critics, I actually thought he had a reasonable game against Liverpool compared to many others.
Yeah.
He looked like the one player who was really giving it a go. And I think he gets the ball and gets himself forward much quicker than Bentancur. And it would have been a slight change of structure, which I think we needed at that point. I do think Bissouma still adds something to it, and I would have him in the mix. And I'd certainly have him for the Wolves game, but we'll get onto that, no doubt.
He does hang on. Go on, Karen.
As for the next banner, Adrian.
Go on, I'll give you the next one.
Yeah, at this point, I was still convinced that we were going to win the game.
Yeah. And this brings me back to maybe, I don't know how ruthless you guys can be. I can be quite ruthless. But I mean, their two main central midfielders are both on yellow cards. I don't think they hadn't been subbed off yet. And yet we didn't press them at all, even for all our possession. You know, someone like Harry Kane might have got one of them sent off.
Yeah.
I mean, all right,
you can, resorting to, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, people.
But we're missing that.
People do that. I mean, like, right. Let's go to.
No, I agree with you, Adrian. That dark arts, it's a part of the game, and I think Forest played it. They were physical against us, and again, anytime we play a team where they're physical, we tend to retreat a bit, and we don't press those things where they pressed us, which is why I think they got the red card.
Ian, the red card came from Spence initially reacting to, I think it was Gibbs White, who really threw himself at Maddison. I mean, there's just no way that was a foul, and the referee didn't see it at all. And you could see that Maddison was upset about it because he saw. I played it back several times, and Gibbs White just threw himself at Maddison. There was no contact at all, really. But we've got to stop being such an easy touch. We're too easy to teams draw us into this stuff, and we're not smart enough, or maybe not experienced enough to see what's happening.
Ian, on the referee, your take on the referee for this game?
I thought it was weak early on. I mean, you were talking about yellow cards. I thought there were probably 4 tackles in the first 15 minutes that warranted yellow cards, and he gave one.
Yeah,
it's all very well. It's early in the game and what have you. Now there were opportunities for him to have cut down, particularly when they were sliding in and making contact on our players. So there was a lack of consistency. I didn't have any overall prize. Sometimes you go to the pub and you moan about the referee and moan about the referee. It's always the referee's fault, etc., etc. It wasn't a performance that I thought was that bad. I mean, the referee in the Liverpool game, who's a 32-year-old young, really up and coming referee, I thought was notoriously inconsistent. I mean, there was one, Jem, it would have been right in front of you, where Sonny was impeded by the guy. He misses the ball. I can't remember who the defender was. It wasn't Trent, so I can't remember who it was. But Sonny, he's caught Sonny late, and then he go to ground. Sonny then tries to get up, and he brings him down again. And it's no foul. And you were obviously at the game. I wasn't. Mike Dean in the studio goal, it wasn't a foul. It was a clear foul. It was a clever tactical foul.
Yeah, I think it was Gomez.
you know, and this is a real, you know, up and coming referee, and there was a few like that. I didn't have a problem with the referee yesterday. I don't think it, you know, it's easy to blame the referee. Our sending off in the end was a piece of stupidity by Spence. You sometimes don't give the referee any choice, unfortunately. And
if we got to start looking at the referee as to why we lost, then what are we doing here?
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
Mark, 68 minutes. Madison shoots over the crossbar and got shot off. We seem to be hitting a lot of shots over the bar.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember much about this. I'd sort of given up by this stage.
Well, I
to
missed
be
the
honest.
sending off because my stream went down.
Yeah.
By the time I get back up, the game will be over,
Yeah.
so I didn't watch it, right? But we'll come to it. 70 minute. They're all saying 70% possession. Probably was at the end of the game, but I mean, 67% possession.
What did we do with it? What did we do with that?
Right. Well, we huffed and puffed and prayed it around, and I still kept thinking we're going to get an equaliser. Now, when it was getting late, I think, we'll get an equaliser. But something to click for us, but it didn't. This was the yellow card for dissent.
That's when he threw the ball to the ground, yeah?
Yeah, well, we had two close together, didn't we? We had this one,
Yeah.
and then we had this one. But for his foul on the halfway line.
Yep.
And then Alan, it was quite a good shot, powerful shot from Madison, which got blocked by Murillo, who had a good game, didn't he? You know, so
Their defense was very good.
yeah.
I mean, we did a lot of passing to try to get around it, and we hardly could find a way.
Well, they're well organised. They were well organised. They've got a structure to their defence, unlike us.
Well, they played. I think they were. I think we all knew kind of the plan. They were going to counterattack early.
Yeah, they play a low block. That's their system. They play a low block first.
Yeah, and then they low block, and that's it. But we just never found an answer.
I think we were guilty of lobbing the ball into the area time and time again, and with no chance of winning it in the air against that defence.
But this is the thing that frustrates, and this is, I mean, anyone who knows me and knows me on social media, etc., knows that, you know, living in Scotland, I was a big Ange in, let's get Ange in. He'll play the kind of football, etc. But when you look at teams when they're playing against us, and particularly if they've just scored against us, or, you know, we're going into the last 15, 20 minutes and they're 1-up, and they've got two very solid banks of four, sometimes a 4 and a 5, relatively close together, and they're saying, that's our shape, you break us down, we know we can hit you on the counter, you break us down. We never play like that. Well, and Forest were really excellent. You have to say that Nuno had them set up really well yesterday, particularly going into the closing stages. And I felt increasingly we weren't going to score that last 20 minutes. Unfortunately, I mean, Jem's normally the biggest pessimist ever. You know, I never thought we were going to get into it, but he felt yesterday we were, and I can't tell you that I did. I thought that once we were a goal down, I thought that knocked the stuffing out us. You know, like a boxer taking a really big body shot and not really having the.
I'm that much of an optimist, Ian. I still think we're going to get it back into it.
Okay.
Well,
yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'm exasperated with modern day football. I find it very robotic to what I've seen. And like when they talk about beating a low block, I remember Birkinshaw saying, like, when he was back in the day, and he was right. He said, look, you have shots from outside the box against low box. You have a winger that can dribble, because if you don't get past his man, he might win you free kicks around the penalty area. And you have players making, and this is what the Continentals were all very good before we picked up on it, players who make late runs into the box. Late runs into a bit of space, hoping someone's going to pick them out. I mean, it's not just when people say, "Oh, we need a winner that dribbles past players." I mean, you can get overloads and do the same thing. But I mean, like but the thing with a tricky winger like an Odebert or even a Solomon who's smashing it at Leeds, right? It's so ironic, isn't it? You want the dribblers. I mean, Aaron Lennon. I mean, he used to win us loads of free kicks, didn't he? He won them all the time. I mean, like,
Musa Dembele did that.
Aaron Lennon would have been a perfect player for Ange. Perfect.
So would Waddle could go either way. You never know which way. I don't think Chris Waddle knew which way he was going to go. Ginola would have as well. You know.
Yeah.
On the 80th, I do this. All these stats are available on that one football app, Ian. In case you want to, if you ever want to cherry pick any of them.
Stats where?
On that one football app,
it's funny if I didn't look at it. Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah. Normally, I'd have more. I'd have more incidents than play. We got 81 minutes. Horror on for your doggy, who just hasn't. I mean, I thought he got his mojo back away at Man United because he had that pre-season injury. I don't think he's not been on point all season. All right, Man City and all that, but not enough. So inconsistent. So is Porro as really. He's been awful as well, which doesn't help. And then moved in. Then Basuma come on late. This is just Dragonson got the injury. He may not be fit, so now we've got no centre backs for the game. So you might have to move you doggy into the centre back position. We'll talk about that anyway in a minute, right? Right. So
I was surprised that we, going back to the original slide with substitutions, I was a little surprised that we didn't have Dorrington in the lineup. Because and we had this now. Dorrington could have come in instead of Basuma.
Maybe he played under 21s. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Me and Mark spoke about this. But the thing with these young kids, you can't keep them on the bench for a whole season, can you? For so many games, they've got to get game time. So I think we rotate them. I mean, you know. So I mean, I don't know. We're guessing unless he's got a knock. And then you can tell me about this, Jen, because I missed it. 90 past 4 minutes. What a time to get sent off for a foul on Silva. What was the foul? I didn't even see this.
I think it was it Gibbs White again, trying to bring the ball out of defence, push the ball past him, and he just kind of cut him off. It was an obvious yellow card. It served no real purpose, and at a point in time when we're desperate for defenders, it was just a second stupid, bad decision by Spence.
So
that's where the in-game management needs to come in, right? The captain, whoever's captain needs to get everybody kind of under control.
We don't have a captain. We don't have a leader.
We don't. You're right about that. We do not. It's funny. Someone in one of the WhatsApp groups predicted exactly that. They said early in the second half, they said, I'm predicting a second yellow for a red. Didn't know who it would be. And we did exactly that. I mean, we were that predictable.
Well, I think experience is one thing that we're missing here, because 7 players, like I say, 24 and under. And then we're bringing in players that are younger on top of them, and those players are still developing. So you've got Bergvall, great. Well, I mean, I like these players, don't get me wrong. Now Yang Min Hook's coming in. We only brought in one experienced player in a transfer window, that was Solanke. And to be honest, I didn't know too much. I knew very little about Solanke before he came in. I like him now. All right, Brian.
Yeah, do you want to come on, Brian? Brian?
We're going to go for the team. I'll start with you, Alan. Full start. I'll give you one each, because I don't want to spend everyone on the same player all the time, unless you've got something crucial to say.
Not really. I mean, Forster. Look, I don't think it's his fault for the goal. I mean, Alanga put in a very good goal. It was a nice shot. He's very fast. I think he's like one of the fastest players in the Premier League. He's just very quick. And it had been coming. They were knocking on the door up to that point. So, I mean, in the system that we play, where the defenders are run ragged, a goal here and there. I mean, we did lose just 1-0. It wasn't like it was the Liverpool 6-3. It was 1-0. So, and I usually expect us to give away a goal for whatever reason, whether we tried our best, it just didn't happen, or it was silly. In this case, it happened. He didn't have a whole lot else to do, though. I think he made a couple of good saves, though. If I'm remembering the game correctly, he made like one or two good saves, but he looks nervous every time Archie Gray passes back to him. I hold my breath
Oh,
because he looks like he's holding his breath and he's freaked out and doesn't know what to do. And I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna risk this again. Um, we really need to replace him. It's not his fault. He's had his day, but I think we really need to replace Fraser Frankenstein.
but
Not going to happen in January though, Jim, is it?
well, let's face it with let's face it with Foster, right? He's a fantastic goalie, or he was. He
Yeah, he
still
was.
is. He still is. He's been man of the match for us since Vic's been out. On a couple of games, I'd certainly give it to him. You know, he's made some brilliant saves, but he's not the sort of keeper that Ange needs or wants for his system of playing out from the back. Because even the Forest fans, every time the ball went back to him, they were giving him stick. You know, because especially the playing out from the back bit, a ricket is just waiting to happen.
Yeah. Well, who was Ange playing with at Celtic? Was he playing with Joe Hart when he was winning stuff?
Yeah.
No, he was there well before Joe Hart.
Right.
Okay.
I think top teams have shown that they have to have really top keepers.
Yeah.
And we don't even know if Vicario's a top keeper yet. I think the jury's still out on Vicario. He still has his limitations. Chelsea undoubtedly will make a keeper a priority for them because that's their big weakness at the moment. Forster is a decent keeper. He's a good backup, but he wasn't what lost us the game.
No.
And just on the keepers, guys, I mean, like Ian alluded to, I mean, like Austin was England under 21 goalkeeper. We should have heard a lot more noise about him because we heard a lot of noise about the under 21s last. All the players barring the fullback positions, basically. And Gunter looks a fantastic goalkeeper. And Josh Keeley's kept 8 sheets at Leyton Orient now. He's out on loan reason to develop, right? And Donnelly's getting his straps there as well then because he's got a killer through ball on him.
Adrian, if Gunter is that good a prospect, why isn't he on the bench instead of Austin? Because I can't see what Austin's doing at the club. I just don't understand it.
Well, you know, the under-21 swept all before him last season. Now that most of the players are out, Abbott's done well. We scored the other day for Notts County. You know, there's lots of them out on loan now that are doing well. That's why the under-21s aren't doing so well. They've ripped the team. But these players have to go on loan. They have to have a stiffer challenge. I don't know with Austin. I wouldn't keep Whiteman at the club. Definitely not. Not what I've seen of him. And that's little, but it was enough. but Austin, I think he's just going to be back up to Vicario until Keeley or Gunter are given a chance. And I'm keeping both of those goalkeepers. But yeah, so we'll see. So Ian, I'll stay with you.
No, go on.
More in the chat. You want to go through?
No, there's only one comment here.
Hi, David. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, our correspondent from Leicester.
I don't quite understand what you're saying about Forster. I don't think anyone's saying Forster's at the heart of our problem.
No.
Well, amazing, David, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's saying Forster is the heart of our problem.
He just made 2 mistakes against Man United, but we won the game, so it papers over that crack.
Yeah.
And he wasn't at fault for the goal.
Yeah.
That game.
Ian, pick one of these, Dragerson or Gray. Performance.
Well, Gray. Gray is just. People saying, and this is where social media does drive you mad.
Yeah.
Saying at the beginning of the season, we've just, squandered 40 million on a player that's never going to be a Premier League player. I mean, seriously, I don't know what planet some fans are on or why they're on it. Gray, I think, was one of our far better performers yesterday, and continues to be, considering we've never seen him. I mean, I saw him in the first pre-season. This country was at half, so it may have even been the first pre-season, and he played centre half. And he was really, really good. He's I think he's going to develop into an exceptional player, a very exceptional player. Whether that's as a central midfield player, it might even be as a central defender, because he has all the attributes. And it reminded me in the early 80s, I kept saying, no social media then, so I can't prove it. Play Mabbott as centre half. Play Mabbott as centre half. I thought Mabbott had all the attributes to be a central defender rather than a central midfield player. And
now you're talking my language.
And I thought he was even better as a central defender than he was as a midfield player. And he was a very, very good central midfield player. I think this boy could be the same. I mean, I call him, we got him from Leeds, and you're a certain age, our own Paul Madeley. But Paul Madeley was Leeds substitute when there was one sub, and he could play in a variety of positions.
He comes from a big footballing family of Eddie Graham, Frank Graham, and another Graham.
Absolutely, absolutely. Big Scottish Celtic supporting Catholic Leeds-based, Yorkshire-based family. Absolutely, the legendary Gray family. And he could be, he could be that for Tottenham. He can seem to play well anywhere. But I quite like him at centre-half. No airs, no graces, but comfortable on the ball, wins his tackles. Say better in the air than I expected him to be, but I saw that at Tynecastle, where he was winning the ball.
And she did say that he didn't want to block the path of Phillips and Dorrington. And I've watched both of those last year in every game, and I like both of them. I'm sure they'll make it, whether it's at Tottenham or not. But although this young kid coming into us, Vaskovic, he just looks absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome when you go and watch him play. I mean,
did he just have like a scissor kick goal?
18. I don't think we can register him because of Brexit rules and employment law rules, because he's not 18 to the 24th of February. And I would love to be able to bring him now. And I would bring him in now. And he can play as a 6 as well. And I posted videos to quite a few people in the WhatsApp chats. All I'm going to say to people, if you're out there listening, his latest clips.
I mean, I'm not saying we do play him at centre half. I think he might make it there. But if we've got better players there, then fine, he can play as the 6. I'm not hung up on it. My point being, he's an exceptionally talented young 18-year-old who can play well in a variety of positions already.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hear what you're saying though about the some of the younger players coming through, and of course we've still got at the moment. We've still got Romero and we've still got Van der Ven to come.
Yeah, they'll be back later this month, maybe in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, no. With Archie Gray, I wasn't against signing him, right? And he's turning out to be a fantastic player, but he wasn't oven ready. He wasn't going to improve us immediately, which is what I've been crying out for. This is what we built the stadium for, don't forget, so we could bring in the top players and compete. Right? Like, definitely this window, if we do sign anyone in January, it's got to be someone who walks in, grabs the shirt from whatever position that they're signed as and says, right, this shirt's mine now. And whoever's his, like, opposition, well, not opposition, but, counterpart in that position, if you want this shirt back, you got to earn it back off me, because let's face it, Gray and Bergvall, who both look good when they played, they haven't improved us immediately. None of them. Will they in the future? Undoubtedly. Have they now? No, they haven't.
Jem Dragerson. I was going to come to you, Alan. You back? Sorry, I'll come to you on the next play.
Yeah, I actually thought Dragerson was going to get himself sent off. There was a corner in the second half where he seemed determined to get
pushing and shoving,
for holding, and it's one of my bugbears. I don't understand why players put themselves in a position where the referee has a decision to make about whether to give a penalty, a corner. It's just stupidity, and it's another example of bad decision making. When players losing concentration, not really focusing on what's important, and in fact, for all his holding, the player that Dragusin was trying to mark actually ended up getting the header from that corner. He's slotted in and he's filled that position, and on occasions he's done okay, but I think he's an accident waiting to happen.
Right, Ian, you going to pick your man Spencer or you Doggy?
Talk about devil of the deep blue sea. Do I want to be shot by firing squad or hung? Both terribly at fault for the goal. I like Spence. I've always liked Spence. Sheer stupidity getting sent off, and it's another suspension and another player out that we can ill afford. Even if it'll only be one game, it's still one game too many. But it comes down to the system. I don't think either of them are natural fullbacks. Spence is more of a fullback than Udogie. But
Spence is a fullback.
They would both be better played as wing backs with support of three central defenders. And we're talking about Gray and what's his name?
Dragusin?
No, like the young boy. What's the young boy's name?
We have so many of them.
Dorrington. We're talking centre back. What position?
The centre half, the young boy, not the one who's in the
Bergvall?
No, you've got VDV and Romero, Dragusin and Gray. Davis rather. Then you've got
central
Gray.
defenders. Gray. No, what's the young boys out the under-21 boy?
Dorrington.
Thank you.
said that.
Dorrington. So Dorrington, Davis, potentially Gray, Vlasovic, Romero. You've got plenty of choices there. Plenty of choice there if you want to play a three. And I just think we'd be so much better with a three that would bring out the best in Porro, Spence, Udogie, and probably another. Sorry, let me go back to David's comment. I've got it in front of me anyway. Spencer was at fault for the goal, but he's a better fullback than Porro and Udogie. I'd probably agree with that.
Spence is a fullback.
Agree with that.
Spence is a fullback. He always has been a fullback.
Yeah, okay, but I still think with his game and his speed and his ability to get forward, he would be just as comfortable and maybe even more effective as a wing back.
Oh yeah.
I mean, in fairness, Mark, I'm inclined to agree. I think under Ange's system, I would be playing Spence as the orthodox right back rather than Porro. But then I always thought he might try and play Porro at right wing because he does have the pace to go past people, and he's not afraid to have, he's not afraid to have a bang at goal either. Rather than what is that?
Yeah, I get it when fans say, "I'll play five at the back," which is it's not my favourite system anyway. I prefer 4-3-3 or 4-2-3. I don't like five at the back, but it doesn't matter. All systems work; they all fail. But imagine this, right? Ange goes into training going, right, guys. Now we've been doing this for like season and a half, almost, trying to instill his philosophy into the players. And now he goes in the changing room and goes, right, lads, we're going to change. We're going to play a back five. We haven't worked on it in training in the last 18 months. We haven't worked on it at all. And yet now you want to switch to a back five. It's not happening. I mean, I know it's not
Adrian. Ange doesn't change nothing. He won't even adapt the style he plays, let alone going five at the back.
We get down to semantics now over whether.
Yeah, here we go.
I believe he has. I believe he has.
No, definitely not.
Well, we're never going to. We'll leave that there, then, Mark.
Yeah, all right.
He has adapted in loads of ways, in my opinion. In your opinion, he hasn't. Fair enough. Right, so I'm going to come back with you. These three, Mark. Come on, Saab, Bentancur, Kulusevski.
Oh my goodness. So Bentancur was terrible. Let's get that in now. Seeing as he's had
7 games out.
a 7-game rest. All right, he did play in Europe, so he's not had a complete rest. But like Bentancur was terrible. He looked miles off the pace. Like he just wasn't in the game. You know, I mean, I thought he was going to come. Well, we all said, like the last show we did, unless it was a Christmas Eve one, but like the show we did when we weren't drunk. We said when Bentancur comes back and he's going to be raring to go. He should be razor sharp. Up, like willing to get going, pleased to get going again. But to be honest, he really did nothing.
Nothing.
He was probably one of our worst players, in my opinion. And Sarr and Kulu in this stupid system, all the players never look good. So,
Alan, these three, I'm going to come to you with them.
Yeah, I agree with Bentancur.
Right. Why is it when only one of our midfielders is not on point, our midfield just seems to vanish? Doesn't vanish. We had a lot of possession, but just doesn't perform, just doesn't cut it.
I guess the midfield do so much work.
Yeah.
Our midfield does so much work. Where I think that's just the system. If one person isn't holding it up in the midfield, it puts a lot of extra pressure on our defense, and we're a weakened defense. I mean, we're down to the marrow or the quick with our defense. And look, Kulusevski, I think lost. He didn't do well in possession. He had a couple of shots, but I remember he lost the ball quite a bit. And Sarr, I really like Sarr, and I think he does a lot of the grunt work that doesn't get recognized. But I think he didn't even really do that yesterday. He just didn't really even do those things.
Yeah,
they looked tired. Yeah, we had all that possession, but it amounted to nothing. And they just looked tired. All three of Bentancur looked tired. And we know he was rested, so they just looked. They looked off a step. Every single player looked like they were off of it from beginning to end. They just looked tired.
I think a lot of them have given up with this stupid system.
Jim, Son, Solanke, Johnson.
Solanke works hard. I'm disappointed at his finishing. Son, well past his best. Johnson, lazy out of possession. And I just think that the three of them are isolated from each other. Nobody's playing close enough to anyone else. There's no duos. Very few players can really play on their own in the way that those three are being asked to, in my opinion. I would have Johnson or Kulusevski or Son alongside Solanke.
You may find we might get Yang Min Hook alongside them. And Mikey Moore will be coming back. So I want to see Mikey Moore personally.
Yes.
Ian, and just game management.
Yeah, I think I covered this.
Right, okay.
I wasn't. I thought that the subs at the subs at 60 minutes. I'm not going to quibble over 4 minutes. I'd have got Son off at that point for Werner. Porro came on for Udogie, didn't he? I get it, maybe, and Werner for Son may have made them a little bit earlier when it was clear that we weren't creating enough. I mean, I presume the Porro for Udogie one was to give us more of an attacking threat, and Werner because Son was clearly knackered. But I mean, they were okay. You could argue it could have done it 10 minutes earlier. But the thing is, we haven't got that many options. The reality is we don't have that many options. It's at least we've got players that might change a game on the bench. because a couple of weeks ago the injuries and suspensions were such we had children on the bench.
Yeah. So
right. I notice you haven't come with me with the game management. I was going to say, what game management? He doesn't do any. It's his way or the highway every game. We play exactly the same way. We're too easy to play against. And that's it. We're just too easy to play against.
Well, there are many variables that are
We seem to have the same discussion after just about every game. Who would you bring, without preempting anything that you might want to say next, Adrian? But who would you bring in? January's coming up. Who would be on your list?
What if Ange was to leave tomorrow?
No, if Ange whether Ange stays or
You mean like transfers?
Transfers.
As transfers.
What I want and what Tottenham will do is two completely different things, because we all know Tottenham, they'll go for the cheap option. We'll have our number one target and we'll get his cheap replacement.
All right. Well, say you had 100 grand to spend, 100 million to spend. Who would you spend it on?
I would get a proper left back, not a left wing back. Right? Who I don't know, because I'm not up on the players in the world whatsoever, but I'd certainly get. So that's that sorted. That's our most desperate position, right? I'd get proper wingers that could beat a man and cross a ball, or not as much as I love Sonny, he's not a left winger anymore. Definitely not. He's never really a left winger to start with. Let's face it, he was always that supporting sort of striker with Kane. That's where he spent like most of his time, sort of in behind or ahead of Kane. Because it was either Kane to Son, Kane assisting Son, but as we saw in that game at Southampton, when Son scored 4, Kane had 4 assists. So, we definitely need another striker, because Richarlison is done. I mean, your best ability is availability, and he's never available, so he's got to go. But I really don't know. But left back, definitely. We need one of them, and we need round pegs for round holes, not square pegs for round holes. What normally happens, playing players completely out of position where they're not really natural in that position, and to sort of breed confidence in the team, because I don't think the team's got any confidence at the moment, and a lot of that rests on Ange's shoulders.
If you could buy one left back from anywhere in the world, who would it be? Money.
Honestly, I have no idea. Adrian's probably got ideas.
Anthony Robinson.
Is he good?
From Fulham. Yeah, he's fantastic. He's at Fulham. He's their left back. He's he plays on the American national team.
Robinson from Fulham.
Good player.
Good
Very
player.
good player.
We ain't getting him. Too expensive.
Him.
But you can argue he's also much better going forward than he is a defender.
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
But this means going young again. But I like this kid, Patrick Dorgu from Lecce in Italy. He's a Danish Nigerian extraction. He played in the under-21 tournament. Not only is he a left back, he's sort of left-sided midfielder, left winger. The guy looks a phenomenon. He does. There's a lot of clubs looking at him. I understand why, but that would mean going young again. So you'd probably get him because he's 20, I think. I think you'd probably get him for 30 mil, but I don't know what the transfer budgeting. I want a 369, and the only way we're getting a 369 in this January transfer window, because the most we've brought in is 2 in January. It's very hard to do deals when clubs are chasing European trophies or clubs are facing relegation, and you've only got a month to do the deals. But this recruitment team should have been working on these a month ago or more, right? They should have, and they should be able to get deals done in the first week because we need them done early this time. We need them done early, these deals. I've always liked the loan to buy deals because, like, if the player's no good, you send them back, like Werner, right? And I don't mind loans either. If it's an old player with experience we need to take us through, I take loans, ordinary loans, even if it means paying top wages for a top quality player. It's been linked with PSG players and things like that. Well, they've got a good squad, right?
Milan Skriniar and Kolomuani.
Yeah, both of them. We could get both of them in if we're just willing to pay probably split the wages with them. So that would be interesting. Actually, outlays, as I've said to Mark, if you only got 30 mil and you ain't got that much to spend, we've actually spent 245 mil underrange. It's 420 odd mil before we've sold players like Kane and things like that. So if we only had 30 mil to spend, that's not the end of the world. You can still put 10 mil down on 3 players as down payments. No one ever pays the full amount up front. But left back, Dorgu, Robinson, they even talked about that Tyler guy at Crystal Palace is out of contract at the end of this season, 25.
Would you take Chilwell from Chelsea?
Yeah,
I would.
yeah.
I think that's a really good call. It was a player I was going to make, and there was talk about Ben Godfrey as well from
Everton.
From
Is it Everton?
He's not settled in at Atalanta.
He hasn't been given game time, has he?
I mean, well, Adrian, get your hand away from your mouth, please.
Sorry, he hasn't been given game time. I always do that when I'm thinking.
So, but I mean, that's the kind of player. He's English as well. You know, because let's be honest with you, any decent team with a decent player is not looking to get rid of them in January unless they're going to be out of contract.
Or unless they've got 3 players in that position.
Yeah, exactly. Well, then they're not playing. That's a a different ball game completely. But I mean, I mean, I would take Jim. It was you that mentioned Chilwell, didn't you? You would take him, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would.
I would take Chilwell. Sometimes it's needs must. I would take.
Will he come to Tottenham? No.
Take God. Sorry, he wouldn't come. I think.
No, not if he's at Chelsea.
I don't know about that. Anyway, regardless, we're hyper.
Godfrey's off the list according to Ali Gold. Ali Gold said, "Go on."
Let me throw another name in there, and I know that the wages are probably going to make it a deal breaker. Rashford.
He doesn't suit the system.
No,
You see, I think he does.
What's this?
not for me.
Not for me.
No.
He's had more than enough chances to be consistent. He was always better playing on the left. He wanted to play through the middle. He's not a central striker, is he?
He plays left, though, quite a lot.
Yeah, he plays on the left, yeah.
I
We've
mean,
got
having
enough on
said
the left,
that,
haven't we?
I
We got
think
Werner
what-
on the left, Ian, and we got Mikey Moore and Son and Yemin Hook. And
Would you bring? Would you bring Solomon back from Leeds?
I'd want a good look at him next season. I wouldn't want to sell him, but you know, no Leeds may buy him. Who knows?
I mean, to me, he's playing really well at Leeds.
Yeah. We didn't have a pre-season. I think that's part of the reason they let him have a loan because they didn't really. I mean, his best game was away at Burnley when we won 5-2, and he gives Son 2 assists for his hat trick away at Burnley in that game.
Yeah.
But
We
I
have to
would
get
take
even
him back.
bodies on the pitch.
And he kept Mudryk out the Shakhtar Donetsk side, right? And they paid 95 million for him. So. And Leeds are could be in a bit of trouble actually, because of the new song around Solomon. Solomon's on my mind. He hates Palestine or something. So now that happened to they win away on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Now we'll see if it's Leeds. They won't mention it. If it was Spurs, it'd be headlines.
I'm not sure you can get the club in trouble for what the fans think. I'm not sure
either.
I don't think so. Because the fans are the fans, especially on Boxing Day when they've been in the pub.
Yeah. This is the yellow card watch now because.
Oh, are you done with the banners, Adrian? Are you done with the banners, Adrian?
Yeah.
Did you see the one I sneaked in there?
Yeah, but we discussed that anyway.
Oh, all right.
We have. So now Bentancur's on 4. So if he plays against Wolves, we don't want him picking one up because that's the 19th game, the cut-off point. And if you do receive another 5 cards by game 32, you get two match ban, and you've missed 2 of the last 6 matches of the season. Right. Moving on. This was part of the January transfer. Okay, let's do this then, Mark, as you like this. January determine Angie's fate, guys?
It should have been decided by now. It should have been.
No.
He should be out immediately, mate. If you look at...
We're in 3 cup competitions, so you've got to take that into the equation, right? We don't know what side Liverpool will put out us against when we're in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We don't know because they're heavily involved in winning the league and they've got Champions League games as well. And we don't know if they'll pick up injuries or suspensions before that. If you ask Spurs fans after the Liverpool game, everyone's going to say we're never winning that semi-final over 2 legs, right? But cup football, you never know. So you could get penalties, they could get players sent off, anything can happen. So I'm never going to be a Spurs pessimist. You guys know that. I mean,
I think he'll probably get the whole season. It's very disruptive, regardless of the coach. It's really disruptive to dismiss them mid-season. And we were already dealing with so many other problems. I feel like all that does is introduce more problems. Even if we were to get the best coach in the world who turns everything around, I don't see them doing it in half a season. So I just think that we got to stick with them till the end of the year and then reassess from there.
Jem, I get the fact that fans are discontented, frustrated and disaffected, and a lot of them, I don't know what proportion of the fan base want him out. But
quite high from what I saw.
Right. So, well, I don't know. I don't know what how big a pulse social media really has, considering like we got a 34 million estimated fan base. Jem, if you're Levy though, and you pull the trigger on Ange, which I don't believe he'll do, because I think he's going to put so much pressure on himself by doing it. The crafty snake is more likely to wait until the summer when he can do it when the season's over and there's no chance of a protest or a backlash, just us lot moaning on social media, right?
I agree. But there'll be some tough games. So, we have to talk about some of the options for us. We know we're going to have some long-term injuries. 3 other names that haven't been mentioned yet that I'd like to throw into the mix.
Go on.
So, I still love the look of Eze. I still think that Dibbling is a really interesting player.
Yeah, he looks good.
And the other one who is just on fire at the moment, bound to get a couple of goals at the weekend, is of course Cunha.
He's not playing Sunday.
He's suspended, isn't he?
He's suspended. I didn't know whether he was going to appeal against that and get off.
Right,
but,
now,
I still think he's on fire at the moment, and he adds some real passion that we don't seem to have at the moment.
Right, going back to our injury woes. Now, I'm glad Ian's on the show. Right, didn't Ange suffer these same sort of injuries, like to his players when he was Celtic manager?
Not that I can remember. I've read this, and I think it might be one of these urban myths.
Oh, is it?
I'll go back and check. I might do it when I finish speaking. Certainly, if I can get hold of one of my big Celtic buddies. I've got a few up here, obviously. I do not remember, and I think this is there's so many. So many myths come out. I read something on one of the WhatsApp groups that he got battered week after week at Celtic.
I don't think that's true.
What the actual fuck? In fact, this time in his first season, he was 6 points behind Rangers and won the league by 4 points.
Yeah.
So that was in his first season. No, I do not remember. This kind of injury problems. And as I say, it's one of the reasons why particularly, and he did this, rotates his wingers, rotates his midfield players. during games. His rotate, he would play someone for 60 minutes and then take them off and bring on somebody else. I think the thing about Celtic is he could do that without weakening the side. And I'm not sure that we've got as many options as we ought to have.
No, definitely not. But do you also agree that this system that he insists on playing, that leaves us wide open at the back, easy to play against? Because let's face it, right? Ange was schooled yesterday by a manager that was hounded out of our club. He was schooled by him. He was taught a lesson because Nuno during that game, he started with a back four and he went to a back five when they were 1-0 up. Right now, that is adaptation. That is not what Ange does. He plays different players in the same bloody positions. It's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
The only fixture I couldn't fit in here, guys, because I haven't got, you only allowed 200 letters, was that on Wednesday, the 8th of January, because Ian's doing his show with Sean Butler on the 7th, we've got that first leg at the Lane Carabao Cup, so I couldn't fit that in here. But that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games.
No. Adrian. I was just asking Ian if he agrees that his system does not work in the Premier League, and it's been found out because he got schooled yesterday by Nuno.
Well, I mean, you've got to such a position with Ange and your detestation of him that. I think you're starting to lose a bit of objectivity. I don't think it's to do with the Premier League, but I do think there's an element of naivety. And I'm trying to go back. I mean, when he took over at Celtic, I don't remember Celtic. I mean, they got beat badly in Europe, but Celtic have been beaten badly in Europe for years. I mean, the one thing I loved about him is he went absolutely toe to toe with Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. In the end, I think it finished 5-1. But he says, "Bugger it, we're just going to go for this," and he did. And Celtic had something like, I don't know, 18 shots or something like that against Real Madrid. Whereas most managers, of course, go out and play, 5 at the back and 4 in midfield and hope you can, and stem the tide and maybe get a breakaway. It's not how I remember it, but there are clearly issues, and I don't know whether it's all to do with the fact that the players aren't good enough. You keep saying about having round pegs in square pegs in round holes, Mark, which then doesn't suggest it's the system. But there are times when we get caught, and we don't even get caught in the ways that some people are particularly critical of, get with the fullback, the inverted fullbacks and what have you. Well, that doesn't seem to be the goal that we concede. But and I wish I could do a graphic, pick some pictures up. But the number of times that opposition picks it up in midfield and plays one ball into a player who has got between the midfield 3 and the back 4. And that seems to be so easy. Or the number of times that a long diagonal ball gets played out to their wing, and they've got 2 or 3 on 1 against our fullback, and he does, and that's where I think he's failing. And he said, "Well, I don't need to change that." When he does, and it does bother me, Mark. I'm not ready to give up yet, but. Some of what he does. I mean, I think his philosophy is we'll score if we score more goals than the opposition. What does it matter? And if I'm putting a system out that will create more chances than the opposition, we will score more goals. I mean, we did finish 5th last year. It wasn't exactly a disaster.
I don't believe it's suicide football, and the reason I say that from this season, what I've seen is. A lot of the goals that we've conceded, I did go on about at one time we conceded like 13, I think it's like 15 goals. I haven't included the Liverpool game. I stopped.
Yeah.
I think it was 15 goals in the left side of our goal mouth whichever way we were kicking. And when we've conceded a lot of the goals, they haven't been because we've had a back four on the floor, or a three, or if someone want to believe a two on the halfway line, and the ball's been hit over the top and people have got in us. We haven't conceded goals like that. Most of the goals we've conceded are scoreboard error goals.
Agreed.
The amount that have come in the penalty area when we've had 6, 7 or 8 bodies back, right? West Ham and all that, and you go at them saying it's not because it's suicide football. I get why people want to use suicide as an excuse if you want him out, you know what I mean? Fair enough, you know, but it's not. That's not a fact. That it's that football, right? Even when Liverpool spanked us, right? They got one through ball over Dragerson, right? But he wasn't on the halfway line when that happened, right? And like at Newcastle away when you doggy should have been close to Murphy. And actually, Dragerson played everyone on side, but he's still getting used to forming a partnership with Romero, who played as left centre back in that game. The first goal against Newcastle was a disgrace. The one quick throw in comes in our box, bang, they score.
Yeah,
right? I just haven't. I just don't get it. I mean, if you don't like the system, if you don't like the way Ange plays football, that's fine.
Can I come back in?
Yeah, of course you can.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, my utter bewilderment with Ange, which is why I want him gone, is his inability to even adapt, tweak the system, change the system at all. Like Brighton when we were 2-0 up.
You said it by adapt. This is the first time you've said it by your meaning changing the system.
Well, he doesn't do it, Adrian.
No,
we were 2-0 up at Brighton. We were 2-0 up against Brighton, mate. And all he said, and all his thoughts were, well, I can't speak to him, obviously, because I don't speak to him. But, like, he would not even sit in for a little bit and consolidate the 2-0 advantage that we had. He went for the third and the fourth and the fifth.
Well,
and
that's
Lord
exactly
knows what else. And we got caught out and we got beat, Adrian. This is my utter bewilderment with the man.
Critics need to just take a step back and have a reality check, because even as Ian alluded to there, you know, people can get a bit carried away when things are bad. They want to see everything as bad. Against Brighton, we're winning 2-0. I'm thinking, great. They're all making these comments after the game as hindsight critics, fair enough. But I'm thinking, oh, we're going to do these 5-0 or something half time. I'm not thinking of sitting back with a 2-goal lead. That's Conte and Marino, boy. I had enough of that. I had enough of that to last me a lifetime.
No, but Adrian,
he scored quickly. Let's get some facts right here. They scored quickly in the second half within 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, right? 2-1. I still wouldn't panic at 2-1. Right, we're winning this game. We're away from home against a good side on paper. We win. I still wouldn't panic at 2-1, but at 2-2, yeah, be proactive. I critiqued him for that. At 2-2, he should have made the subs. That's the way I think you would have been better management of the game. And I think it's a fair critique. But when you're not when you're 2-0 up, Mark. No, you don't sit back when you're 2-0 up.
No, but come on. There's no changes at any time. Of any game. It doesn't matter. We're winning 3-0 or losing 3-0.
This system might be bad, but apart from Liverpool, all the games we've lost is by 1 goal. All systems work and they all fail, right? Every system works, every system fails, whether you like a particular system or not. I prefer 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. That's me. I don't like 5 at the back, right? But that's just me. But that doesn't mean to say I'm right. But then you go away. When you go away and you win 4-0 at Man City and 3-0 away at Man United, right? That is not a fluke. Right, you didn't even concede a goal in those games. Right, that is not a fluke. But when we do beat them, what I find very annoying is when the Spurs fan base go, "Oh, they're rubbish." That comes every time we win a game. The other team's rubbish. You know, I mean, I just find that it's just.
Mark, can I ask a question? If you had the choice tomorrow of getting Mourinho back, getting Conte back, getting Nuno back, or sticking with Ange, what would your choice be?
I'd sell my season ticket.
Personally, right? It doesn't. Now I know it's not going to go down the Levy route, but it is, right? It doesn't matter who the manager of Tottenham is, because they will never get the full backing from the ownership, and so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter who the manager is. Why Ange out rather than Levy out?
I've got. Hang on. Where is it?
We've spent. This is another thing. When fans say we don't spend the money, we've
Mark,
spent.
that's a huge contradiction from you.
Since 2019, when the stadium opened, we spent 1.1 billion on players. The recruitment's been crap. We failed better recently in the transfer market. Some of the youngsters are going to be worth their weight in gold, right? But 1.1
There was an interesting statistic, though, I saw on X last week, which was the number of players in each Premiership squad who are on over 100 grand a week. And I think some add up to 17. I think Chelsea had 17. And Spurs had 5. And there's no doubt that we are underspending on players.
But don't forget, this is what we built the £1 billion stadium to do. You know, it's another lie from the ownership.
Well, it hasn't been a game changer in regards to success and winning trophies, but it has been a game changer in improving and getting a better squad, because we spent a fortune on players, even if like Lo Celso and Ndombele, Davison Sanchez, Richarlison, there's probably 200 million there. And when you talk about the transfer money, you also, what people tend to miss out is the wages then players are signed on for 5 years as well. So we've spent the money. I mean, because we cut the wage bill last year by getting rid of so many players, that's a plus in my book, right? We did that. So that is a plus, because it means the more you reduce your debt, your squad cost ratio debt, which Ian will probably go on with Sean when he gets him on, because I'm not going to get in the ring with Sean on finances, right? It means you can spend more on players. But that season's from the Champions League, that 549 million we earned. So we're not going to get that next year, because we ain't had Champions League football, right? So we'll have less turnover unless we make some massive sponsorship deals in between, or get an investor in between, or whatever. It's not going to happen. So, yeah, but we that 251.1 million on the financial report snippet I got, that was higher than Arsenal's wages at the time. All right, now we've cut the wage bill right down by getting rid of so many players, Deadwood. So with Arsenal be paying more than us in wages,
Yeah.
We have spent. We needed the stadium.
175 grand a week.
If it's true, I mean, like, you get these lists as well, don't you? But how true are they? You can see what the total wages are in the financial report, which was 251.1 million, if my memory serves me, right? Which was nearly half our revenue streams, right? Half of what we got in revenue. So, I mean, yeah, I'd like a bit more transparency for the club. Obviously, they can't tell us what they've got to spend in the window, because other clubs will know it. Like, it is a sort of juggling act, really. But I don't see why we can't get this. Lang needs to make a mark from himself. He's done well with Bergveld, and like, he came to the club because Milo Jelinek was there as well. Whether he's good, I still hope. I mean, I'd like to see Paratici taking on. His ban must be up by now. I'd like to see Paratici back as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk of him potentially coming back.
Is there? Oh, right, I haven't heard any. Yeah.
Well, it's just talk. I think it's mainly people wanting him to.
All right, then, quickly, guys. I don't want to wear you all out. It's been a great show, and I like balanced perspectives. Wolves, what? Alan, easy question for you. Wolves, who's playing at centre back? Is Ian got to get his boots out of the cupboard, or what?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Ian could be on the bench for sure, because we never know who's going to lose their head and go out.
Ian's not listening, Mr. Joke.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's going to be Archie Gray and Alfie Dorrington, because he's a natural center back, and I wouldn't trust Basuma there. I don't want to see Basuma there. I would like to see Dorrington. You know what I mean? If we're doing this youth experiment, it seems like this would be the time for Dorrington to get a start. Wolves, and lest we forget, Wolves, although they won, they beat Manchester United. They're in the bottom. I think they're fourth from the bottom So they're not like a team that we can't beat.
They've beaten us the last 3 times we played them.
They beat us, yes, but they're not. But they're still beatable.
Mm.
I hate to say it. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy. The way we play, we make it easy for them instead of making it difficult for them.
Exactly.
And but I would like to see Dorrington and Archie Gray, and then I guess Udogi, and I guess Poro, because we can't get Spence.
This is the table where we are, right? Tottenham 23, as you're right, 4th from bottom. They're on 15.
Yeah.
They have scored 29 goals to our 39. Yeah, so
I don't think there's any way he's going to bring
goals. Right? They've conceded over 2 goals every game.
Yep. And I think they will be without Cunha. I think that suspension will go in where he won't be able to play against us, I think.
Jem, would you play Udogie as left centre back?
Yes, if Dragoshin is not available, I would play Udogie there alongside Gray. Yeah, for sure.
Who then plays left back?
Well,
personally, I would play. I would play a 3 at the back, but I know
Porro has to play, and then you'd have to bring in Mason King's a left back, Dante Casanova's a right back. At left back, who in that midfield is there any of the experienced players? Because I think I'm inclined to go with you, Jem, because I think Angel will go for players that have played more experience than Dorrington. It wouldn't bother me if Dorrington played. He's a good player, in my opinion, but he's like 19, 20.
I believe
he's older than Archie Gray.
I believe because we're at home that King and Dawson are going to have to give up their ambassador roles, and they're going to have to step in.
Yeah,
And Mab's on the bench.
Well, Ledley hasn't trained all week, so he should be okay.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. No. Actually, Mabs might have to play because Dawson will be in the Sky studio.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
I still you need that height in there as well, and Udogie's got that. So on left back, you could bring a kid in. If you bring one of the kids in at the fullback position, then at least you know that most players, when they come to a team for the first time and get a debut, they don't tend to take many risks. So I suspect
that Dragoshin will probably play alongside Gray, and you'll have Udogie and Porro playing either side. And then you take your pick in the middle. I suspect he probably will play Maddison as it's a home game. Imagine you're
well, Dragosin
with tried and tested.
Yeah, Dragosin they said they're going to look at, right? So it's not decided, not at the moment. I mean, it was his ankle, and that's awkward when it's your ankle because it's everywhere on your foot, isn't it? You know what I mean? Like, so if he's got ligaments, he's out, right? If it's bruising or swelling, and get that down with ice. Ian, are you playing as centre back?
Unless you tell me Dorrington's not up to it, then I'm going to play Dorrington. I think I can understand why you might play Udogie there, but that's 2 non-central defenders playing in central defence. And then who do you play at left back?
Dorrington, he can play left back.
Well, what's the point of playing him at left back and playing Udogie at left centre half when you can play?
Just throwing it in there because that seems to be the options, doesn't it?
It's more experience.
Are we sure that Dragossin's out?
No,
it's not. It's his ankle, but he asked to come off, and that's not a good sign when a player.
I can't see how he could be fit. I'm playing Porro, Dorrington, Gray, and Udogie.
Yeah, I think that is what. Yeah, well, we've got a rough idea. My midfield 3. I mean, I'm going to go for the 3 I originally picked for. I mean, I'd go for Bentancur, Bergvall. I'd have them in there with Kulu probably. and like in the midfield, and I'd add Maddison on the bench because looks like Wolves might play a low block, but just want to go strong energetically if we've got anything in our legs for this. Well, midfield three then, Ian?
Well, that's the kind of game I would play Maddison in.
Yeah, okay, fair
To
enough.
hold control of the ball. Who am I going to play him with? I'd probably give Bergvall a start. I think he's overdue a start. Bergvall, Sarr,
Basuma.
Maddison, and then play Kulusevski wide. I'd probably, it's difficult if you want to play. I mean, could you play Bergvall in the holding role and Maddison and Kulusevski further forward? That looks a bit lightweight for my liking. Looks far too lightweight.
It's amazing that we're struggling to pick a midfield team and we've got 7 injuries.
And midfield's functioning. I think that's been one of the problems.
It is.
That's one of the areas where we've not been as badly affected. All right, Bentancur's suspension, but we've not had the injuries in midfield that we've had in other areas of the field.
No.
Let's face it, right? Let's. Oh, sorry.
No, all I was just going to say, I think our main problems, and I think the main problem that Ange is facing is because our midfield has proved lightweight and too easy to play through, and it feels like with team selections, a little bit deck chairs on the Titanic. Bentancur, as particularly I think Alan said on yesterday, was really, really ineffective. So I think. I think Bergvall's maybe worth a start, but he's another young player that you're asking a lot of because the senior players aren't doing enough. So I'm probably gonna say I'm gonna go with Bergvall, Kulusevski, Sarr, Kulusevski, and Maddison in the middle. But then I'm leaving. You probably don't want. I'll go with Johnson up top alongside Solanke and hope again he doesn't get injured because the consequences of that, and I'm giving Son a rest, and I'm going to see if give Werner another go. Can always bring Sonny on if it's not working.
Right.
If we go just on the midfield, right? Because I think what I should have sort of rephrased it a bit in picking your midfielders, knowing that you might have Gray and Dorrington as your centre backs with you, Doggy, and whatever. Surely you've got to shield them centre backs.
You've got to, you've probably got to have Bentancur in front of them. But Bentancur is an interesting one because actually before he got injured, he was making himself very useful as a much more offensive midfielder. Getting forward, he was scoring goals. It feels like he's being a bit hamstrung. Kind of put in front of the back 4 or back 3 or whatever it is at that point in time. I was just wondering while you were talking there whether Bentancur could actually slot into the back 4 as an option. An experienced player, good anticipation, strong, and then if he's got Basuma in front of him. Could solve a problem. I don't think Ange will do that in a million years, but I think it's a real conundrum. I would probably go with Bentancur, Basuma, Maddison, and Sarr, and then
the most successful midfield 3 for runs was last season. In the first 10 games, it was Sarr, Basuma, Maddison. That was the 3, the blend that worked.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark,
the thing is,
who are you putting in front of the back 4? Because they're going to need a bit of protection, I think.
Oh my goodness, is Mr. Dembele still knocking about? He'd be ideal, but no.
Well, Bentancur on his day reminds me.
Yeah.
Dembele.
Yes. Well, and so does Basuma. The way he glides past players, and he very much when he's on his game mode, which is a bit rare. But like the thing is with our midfielders, apart from the attacking ones like your Matters and that, they're all very similar.
They're all 8s.
We don't have a great mix. We don't have a proper number 6, like a Graham Roberts, like your Dembele, like someone who's going to, get stuck in and protect the defence. So, but to what I was going to say on the midfield 3, it will be the usual suspects. Sarr will get in there. Bentancur or Basuma, either one of them. And maybe, will it be Matters or Kulu? Right, because the only reason I'm saying this, it will be the usual suspects, is that Ange now is favourite with the bookies for the next one to get the chop. He is favourite now.
We wait and see on that. Ian, who's
But and the bookies are hardly ever wrong.
But they are wrong at times.
They are on occasion.
Ian, front 3, who are you picking?
I said earlier, I'm playing Decky in midfield, so that leaves me playing Johnson because again we've not got a lot of options. Solanke, I'm gonna go with Werner. I'm so disappointed with Son's contributions. I think actually we're talking about the players. I think if the back 4 needs protecting, this is one of those typical, Ange best form of attack is best form of defense is attack, and just to go for it, ball in their half, getting in behind their defenders, getting a couple of goals. Don't worry if they haven't got the ball, they can't challenge the fullbacks, the defenders.
Alan, your front 3. We'll end when we've done this because we're going 2 hours.
Son, Solanke, Kulu.
Mark?
Oh, it's got to be Johnson, seems I'm his biggest defender. Solanke, and I hate to say it, but Werner. Son's not. He's ineffective. He's so ineffective now on the left. He really is. And so, well, it pains me to say it, but Werner.
I'm going Son, Solanke, Kulusevski on the right.
That's what I'm thinking.
In midfield.
Solanke and Decky both in the middle.
Yeah. Well, we know that's not happening though.
No, but if you've got Udogie and you've got Porro, then why are you doubling up with Werner and Johnson?
Yeah.
Right, guys, I want to thank you all for coming.
Graham's here. Just a quick shout out to Graham.
Hello, Graham.
Graham, good timing.
He's now 20. He's still 20 points ahead of me, I think, in the online.
I think I might have got one at Brentford at Brighton tonight. That table's reversed, by the way. Brentford are now ahead of us, and we're 12th.
Right, well, did a win or draw?
What have you got this week so far?
Me, 2.
Well, I said Graham, but you can. I've got 4. I think I might have 5 now.
No, I haven't checked tonight's results, to be honest.
Chasing you down, Ian.
I was leading the online one, but now Graham's my inner Ange has come out. My inner Ange has come out, and I am now 20 points behind him.
Right, I want to thank all of you in the chat channel, those that stayed with us this long, and those that are viewing us on playback. Thank you. If you could like and subscribe to the channel, give the videos a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm enormously. We have got a show. Ian's doing a show on Sunday. As you know, our shows go out every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday at 8 o'clock. Ian's doing a show this Sunday, and and then me and Mark will be doing, and everyone's welcome on the Christmas Eve show at 8 o'clock Tuesday.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve. And I have a drink, you know what I mean? So the New Year's Eve show. The Christmas Eve one went very well, actually. Surprising. Didn't know if they want to be there or not. It's just suppose there's a lot of people that are at home. They won't all be out partying and clubbing. So Ian will probably go clubbing because he's still got it in his system.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Doesn't mean twirl on the dance floor.
Northern soul, and I'm away dancing.
He's away dancing. Yeah. So I want to thank my guests. You know who you are. You'd be invited back. You don't escape our grips easy, our grasp easily. Yeah, thanks for your sound advice. And I'll play you out with this.
Those faces go wild, those faces go